Lancy, darling, you realize this morning, today, is 3 years since that crucial morning of your heart attack?
Yes, I have been counting the years, and I was wondering if I would make it to the third year.
Thank God you did.
Yes, otherwise you would have been remarried.
You would have missed out on a nice, good holiday boy in Tobago on top of Tobago.
Yes.
You would have missed out.
Yes. But you know, Louise, it's strange to think that 3 years ago with this heart attack, and living these 3 years to this date, the 27th of August, one day after your 71st birthday, August the 26th,
Yes.
has been sort of an anxiety period for me. Yeah? I'll tell you why. Going back to when I was about 8 years old, when my brother died, my eldest brother died at the age of 27 in 1957.
Yeah.
And they said to me that I so much resembled him and behaved like him and talked like him that I was afraid to reach, if I could, the age of 27. Mm-hmm. So actually, when you tell a child that you resemble somebody perhaps who's dead and gone in the family, that child is under a kind of bondage to reach that age. You know, I was afraid.
Psychological.
Yes, at the age of 27, I myself will die. And when I got to 27, I was expecting the worst. But it happened that I was able to cross it. Now, when you tell children really that they resemble this one, for instance, you know, you resemble, let's say, Tom Cruise, or you resemble Paul Walker, or Denzel Washington, or even Keith Rowley and Mrs. Kamala, you begin to wonder, you know, is this a good thing? Is this a good thing? I think it's a wrong thing to tell children. You meet somebody, for instance, and you say, hey, don't you think she looks like Granny Louise or Grandpa Lance? And that child might begin to wonder, is that a bad thing or a good thing?
And if the child thinks that the person is ugly, be embarrassed and think that's no compliment.
Yes, so
that's true.
It is not good to tell children that they resemble this one and they resemble that one. Let them be
a person.
Let them be a person. Let them grow into something. So now here we are, 3 years today since my heart attack. Can you remember what happened that morning?
Well, boy, it was really, excuse me, the particular morning we got up, you stayed in bed later than you normally would wake up. Mm. So there was enough time for me to wake up, to get out of bed and say my prayers and go to help you to the breakfast. Mm. And usually when I'm helping with breakfast, you will do the coffee and I would do whatever is to be done, whether it's to fry the eggs or boil eggs or tuna or whatever. I would prepare it, and if there is bread to toast, I would do that while you efficiently would make both cups of coffee. But that morning I noted that while I was doing what I had to do, that you were just sort of moving around pretty confused. You put on you plugged on the kettle, and like you weren't too sure where the cups were, or where the coffee was, or where the milk was, and you were just kind of groping in a way of confusion. So when I was finished, I said to you, Lance, would you like me help you with the coffee? By which time you had not done anything except plugged in the kettle. And I made the coffee. But strangely, you enjoyed your breakfast and there was no sign of anything abnormal. However, after the breakfast, you went in the bathroom and I think you vomited.
Yes, I did.
While I went into the bedroom, and the phone rang, and I was telling my niece a dream that I had about her dead mother, you know. Oh, okay. So she was very anxious to hear what the dream was, and I sort of didn't pay much attention to you in the bathroom. You know, and you came out and I thought you looked really very pale, and I said, okay, I have to end this conversation now. And you were, when I touched you, you were clammy and cold. And I said, Lance, what is wrong with you? You say, I don't feel too well. And then you vomited again. So I was saying to you, you know, you think it's a heart attack? And you said, not at all. It must be a little upset stomach from all the food I ate last night, because strangely, that night you had a lot to eat. Kamala had sent some good Indian food, dal and rice and curry chicken. Plus we had some other stuff we prepared for the birthday celebration. And you ate everything. You ate everything in sight, man.
Yes.
And and you went to bed without any sign of anything. So when you
Morning, how are you, sir? Good, man, good.
when you vomited the second time, you then admitted, I think this is serious. And by which time I had called Lisa, and you said, who is that on the phone? I said, this is Lisa. I'm telling her, I think you have a heart attack. And you said, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be fine. So Lisa said to me, Mommy, you just pack a bag and I will be there in a little while.
She told you don't pack a beach bag, eh? So much.
Well, Lisa came and I had still not packed a bag. I now became like Lance. I was just going around in circles, confused, don't know what's going on. I knew where all his stuff was, yet the bag wasn't packed. So when Lisa came, she said, did you pack the bag yet, Mommy? And I was like, I just held on to her and started to weep. And she said, no, it's not time for crying. No, it's time to act. Now it's time to act. Daddy has to get to the hospital. This is definitely a heart attack. Well, Lisa knew of the symptoms because Ian had his heart attack maybe 1 or 2 years before. So, man, she had to help me pack that bag because I still was in Tizik. And Lancy was able to walk to the car, which seemed pretty good, and we were driving through, and we thought we would first go to St. Augustine Hospital. And then Lisa said, if it's a heart attack, it might be better you go on to Medical Associates. And she knows a doctor there. So we went on, and Lance was commenting about things he was seeing, and, you know, he seemed pretty okay. Well, by the time we got to Medical Associates, they were very, very efficient and whisked him in very quickly on a wheelchair. And I went in, and they said, well, we have to do an ECG. Well, when the first ECG was done, I can tell the technician looked like, never saw anything so terrible before. At least that's how I was reading it. So then it was repeated. And they called the doctor by which time, and they said, well, the doctor will be soon here. And then they started talking about how much deposit I'll have to pay. And I said, well, there's no way I can come up with all of this money before the doctor do the surgery. And when the doctor came and he said, okay, wheel him in emergency to put in a stent. I said, but doctor, I haven't paid any money yet. He says, never mind, don't think about the money. We're going to see about that afterwards. The important thing is to save his life. And again, I was really broken and wept. And honestly, I felt that Lance was going to die. And I thought it was the last time I was hugging him and saying goodbye. And by which time, our 2 sons, Lasana and Lyndon, got there, and we were all in the waiting room weeping as though Lance had already died. I mean, I can laugh now, but at that time it was a crying matter, So anyway, well, like about an hour later, the doctor came out and said everything went well. He's going to be in ICU for a day or so for observation, but he's really not yet out of the woods. Well, I think he was trying to be not want to raise my hopes too much, and if should anything go wrong, And I took that as, well, nah boy, Lance, I look like you're gonna make it. So we left the hospital, and it was decided I'll go up to the boys up at Cora, where there are small children, the young grandchildren, and they would, be a distraction. Well, that was quite so, but I think I wept and wept and wept and wept and wept and wept until the next day. Well, word was he was doing well. He was going to be coming out of ICU, and we went and see him. And then he came out the next day, and he was in good form. He was in good form. He was joking. He was saying that it was the fastest drive he ever got in a wheelchair. And, he was a really good, humorous himself. We went to Lisa and we had lunch there. And I went and got his meds, lots of different medication.
Costly too?
Very costly, very costly. And, he started on all his meds. Well, you came out on Friday?
Yes, I came out on Friday. Lyndon was there, and Lisa had come, and you were also there.
Good.
But let me reel back just a little bit, right? That morning when the ill feeling got onto me, as you said, I was kind of disoriented.
Yes.
But when I went to the bathroom twice, I felt as though it was something like a rock I had swallowed.
Okay.
My chest was feeling like there's no room left for anything in it. But I didn't have any pain. The strange thing was I had no pain. And when I walked out of the house to go to the car, it was as though it was normal. But I guess the instruction here of this experience would be that elderly folk really need to be, you need to pay attention, because sometimes there are telltale signs that something is going wrong. And men generally don't like to admit to ill feelings. And that's why women do better than men. They go to the doctor. If they have a little problem, they go off to the doctor. But men have maybe it's a stupid pride.
Male
Chauvinism,
macho.
yeah, it could be that. Anyway, paying attention to the elderly is an important thing, right? Even if they oppose the observations, it's important to really pay attention to male or female, because there would be signs, telltale signs. While I was being driven to the hospital, of course, it occurred to me that, life is going on. Here am I sick, but life is going on. What a peculiar thing, And when I was coming out of the hospital, again, it was remarkable to observe that I came back from the brink of the grave, you could say, but life is going on. People are still busy on the street, cars are still there, traffic lights working, children crossing. It was a strange thing to come back and see that life is going on. So if I were to fall dead now, life goes on. The top of the mountain here in Tobago will still exist until the good Lord is ready for everything to come to a close. In the hospital, I was given good treatment. When they put me on the table to locate this blockage, there was a girl called Tiffany, and she had long braids. She was an assistant to the doctors. And I said, you know what I better do? I better concentrate on her braids and take my mind off of this problem that I'm having. And that really helped me too. That helped me, and the doctor was very professional. Later on, of course, they put me to ICU, and there was an Indian nurse there. And her name was Pretty.
That's a pretty name.
Yes, and she was pretty helpful, huh? She was very observant of me during the night. Every time I opened my eyes, I could see her looking for any signs of discomfort or any alarm that could be raised. So I really appreciated the extreme caution that they took. On the Sunday after returning home, of course, my daughter-in-law Melissa and Lasana, they came and they were doing what they call it, grilled cooking.
Yes, they decided they were going to. I had to go to a meeting, and they decided they were going to come and stay with you, and they were going to do a lot of grilled food that will last you for the week.
Yes, it was.
Grilled cabbage, grilled chicken.
It was recommended, wasn't it?
Well, it is. Diet is very important. Diet is very important for a heart patient, and even for us who are well, we need to observe how we eat because we are older now and more susceptible for things to go wrong.
You think you're following that regime?
Well, I think for the last 3 years, I was able to accomplish a better lifestyle, having had to be careful with your diet. Not that you didn't cheat sometimes.
Well, yes,
But-
you can't cheat all the time.
But
You can't cheat all the time. That's what the doctor said. You could cheat a little, but you can't cheat all the time.
so to make life easy, I sort of cooked.
Good morning,
Morning,
Mom. How are you?
I,
How are you?
I'm alright.
Okay.
so that
Did I?
Excuse.
sure.
Yes. You want to pass?
Yeah, you guys are supposed to check out today, right?
Yes.
We are going to.
Time.
We will be leaving before 11.
Yes. About 10:30, so we should be out of here.
Alright.
Can
Possible, like I could get the blankets, the bedspread,
I'll bring them for you.
the
Yeah.
dish towel. You could just rest this in the closet for me, please.
Sure.
I'm just doing a little tape in here, Mom,
And this is in the cupboard.
Thank you.
so that we will soon be finished, right? Give me at least 10 minutes. Thank you. That was good. A refreshing Tobago interruption. So go ahead, let me hear you.
Life goes on, eh?
Life goes on. No matter what happens, life goes on. Yes, Louise. So what were you saying there again about picking up the pieces there?
Yes, so it's important that they eat the correct foods.
Yes.
And one of the things definitely was supposed to be no beef, no pork. You can have chicken and fish,
Turkey,
no
spaghetti, no pasta.
no pasta, not much flour at all.
Yeah, but I've fallen back on some bad habits.
He did well, and he was able to lose. He lost 35 pounds
In 6 weeks.
in 6 weeks. That was a little worrisome.
Yeah, and the doctor couldn't say why. And
Well,
I couldn't say why either, but this titanium stent, I don't know if it was ever connected to it, but the 35 pounds, I can't really put my finger on why. The doctor didn't think that there was a connection.
yes. But anyway, it made him more handsome.
If you say so, girl, if you say so. Well, anyway, time passed and I got my medication, and I tell you, that was a trial. The meds were a real trial. There were some that gave me a little bit of hallucinations, and I had to tell the doctor, the condition, and he advised me to come off of this one and replaced it with that, and so it went on for a long spell. But anyway, in the long run, I have been able to make it to the 3rd year.
But also, you may not want to say it, he was not very easy of a patient when coming to taking his medication. You know, you would want to skip more than once, more than twice, and I sometimes had to be the schoolmaster. And I would advise anyone who have their patients, it is necessary that you demand they take their medication. Because I've heard one story that kept me going to be intense about him taking his medication is that there was a guy who did his surgery, was doing very well, but then started to slack off on his medication and died.
Yes.
So it is very important
You only have
Yes.
any beach towel?
that you take
that's
your
one of the things that the
medication.
doctor said to me. He said, "Do not be consumed by the side effects." People get up on Google and they check all the side effects.
Yes.
But he says, avoid the side. Looking for the side effects. You need your medication, and I feel safe with the medication. Really, I do feel safe. I'm sorry for those who haven't taken it and have passed on. But anyway, I think that's going to be it for now before I get another heart attack.